Let's talk about the things that that's really going on in society today, with our boys and girls,
Records, baby.
Woman and man.
Crazy with a mixing, man.
Let's talk gender. Talk to them.
Why can't I learn to be myself? Always searching for someone else. The pain of not knowing my worth. I need somebody to free me. I need somebody to free me. I need somebody to tell me everything that I don't see. Free me. Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better. Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better. Let's talk gender.
Come back we talk it up. All the things that your mind of you for open up. Your friend them said them not time, but we at let's talk gender, we got time. So make we be real, just free up your mind, share your experience, big up the youth one time. And don't fear to express yourself, no.
Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome to Let's Talk Gender, a radio program brought to you by the Bureau of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Kyrie FM. I am your host, Keisha Polido, and today we are here to discuss intimate partner violence. In studio with me, I have the Assistant Chief Welfare Officer, Mr. Oliver Wallace, and the Counselor of the Social Welfare Division, Mrs. Glenora Packett. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning to our audience, listener audience. It's indeed a pleasure to be here once again. As earlier indicated, my name is Oliver Wallace, and I'm the Assistant Chief Welfare Officer attached to the Social Welfare Division's office here in Dominica. And I'm looking forward to having good interaction with our audience here today.
Good morning to our listening public, and my name again is Glenora Packett, and I am the counselor at the Social Welfare Division. And today, I'm hoping that we have a very fruitful discussion on intimate partner violence.
Thank you so much. And remember, you can call in to if you have any questions. You can call at 448-7334 or WhatsApp at 245-2929 or 613-1307. As I mentioned, we're going to be discussing intimate partner violence. It's not a big topic, so we're going to bring some light into it. So let's just start off with, who is an intimate partner?
In discussing that matter, who is an intimate partner, one of the things, probably the caveat I want to provide for our discussion today is, I believe it is time for us here in not just Dominica, but on a wider basis, that we should begin to allow those who have factual information on matters to speak about matters. Because our society sometimes is so hurt by being misinformed. And today what we're hoping to do is to actually provide some information as to, as you rightly said, intimate partner violence is not a widely known topic.
Yeah.
And we will find out later on why it came about. Why did the term, how was the term coined? By saying intimate partner relationship, we are familiar with domestic violence.
Yes, very much so.
We will see the differences when we go a little lower down. So in talking about the term intimate partner, we're thinking it relates to a person, the spouse of a person, but importantly, a former spouse of the person. Actually, it can also revert to an individual who is a parent of a child of the person, and an individual who cohabits or who have cohabited with the person.
Okay.
And I want to pull out one little area here in the definition as we gave it there, because you notice we said an individual who is a parent of a child. Because the misconception of so many people, once they hear the term intimacy, intimate, they begin to think sex.
Yes, very much so.
So if you ask certain persons, can a parent be intimate with the child, they jump out and say no, because all they're thinking of sexual intercourse. As we go along, we will find out even more why that intimacy is not necessarily sexual intercourse. But we will see what it means as we go along. Mrs. Packett.
Yes, I mean that's very correct, and I'm very happy that we can have these discussions because information is very important, and the more we know about topics and situations that are affecting our people, the better informed we become, and we are more likely to make better decisions. So having this discussion this morning is very, very important. Yes? So when it comes to intimate partner, like Mr. Wallace said, sometimes we think, it has to do with two people in a relationship only. But then as we discuss, for this hour that we have here, we're going to see that it's not just about the man or the woman, but it has to do with the family.
Absolutely.
It has to do with the family.
That's true.
Okay? So,
So we got the definition of what an intimate partner is. So what is intimate partner violence then?
okay, intimate partner violence refers to behavior within a relationship that causes physical, sexual, psychological harm, aggression, sexual coercion, psychological abuse, and controlling behaviors.
Yes. So what is anything
And
to add?
yeah, because in the initial definition that we gave for defining an intimate partner, you notice that we also noted that the intimate partner can be the person's present spouse or a former spouse. So also when you think of what is intimate partner violence, which is one of the things that we will know that is affecting our society so much today, past intimate relationship. Okay? So here we see in defining intimate partner violence, we cannot leave out that the former spouses or partners of the individual who has experienced intimate partner violence. Okay? Because as a matter of fact, one of the reasons why some people are afraid to even go into new relationships is because they have suffered so badly with their former partner.
Yeah.
And that has almost created some form of trauma.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And that some people, they're in a relationship and the partner lift up their hands probably to take something and they're shifting
Yeah.
because they were so traumatized in the past relationship. And the different areas that Mrs. Packett mentioned that have been affected, you notice it says that an intimate relationship that causes physical, so people can be hurt in the external part of the body where people can see, sexual coercion, and this is sadly, this aspect of intimate partner relationship is one of the area that we find that sometimes most affected. That we can probably just say straightforward, some men does not know how to have sex, and as such they hurt the partner so badly.
Yeah.
It's an abuse of the process. Okay? And somebody could call and talk about that if they wish to, would be happy to engage somebody. The psychological abuse. And as I just said earlier on, people, afraid they hear certain terminologies, certain things happening in their presence. And that again puts them back into some shock, traumatic position. So we see intimate partner violence, as we define it, yet still we are seeing right away the effects that it can have on the person's life.
Yes, and I'm glad that we are talking about this because many times, people think that when they hear intimate partner violence, it all has to do with, the physical aspect of it, like the raising the hand, the hitting, the slapping, that kind of thing, maybe a broken hand or broken limbs or whatever it is. That's what they think. that the violence aspect is. But then as we continue, we are seeing that it's not just the violent aspect in terms of the physical abuse. It has to do with the psychological part, the emotional part, the controlling behaviors, in the sense that, you know, that person wants to go out, but then their partner says to them, no, you can't go out, or you shouldn't be hanging around these people, or you can't go with friends, I don't want you to be around these people, you know, things like that. So while you may not be the one getting the beatings, but then you're also being affected in a different way.
And unmistakably,
Yes.
one of the saddest aspect in the controlling part of the intimate partner violence, the controlling part is one of the worst part.
Yes.
Because when you have been denied the freedom to do what you wish, to do as you please, as an adult, you want to go somewhere, you have your phone and you cannot even, take a call how you win. By the time your phone rings, it's like, who's calling you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Or let me see
Let
who's
me
calling you. Let me
yeah.
see who's texting you.
Yeah. And these here are, serious issues that we have to consider when we think of the area of intimate partner violence. And if the persons out there were just thinking, yes, this is violating a person's right.
Yes, it is violating a person's right.
It is. So
Yeah.
if you have a partner and the person is that's an adult person in the first case,
Yeah.
that's why the person chose to be with you. Okay? And in that case, we're talking about people from 18 and above.
Yes, yes.
And we talk about this, what we are condoning here is persons in relationship that 18 years and above. You're an adult. You have made a decision to be in a relationship. So if this adult has made a decision to be in a relationship with you, then you have to respect that person.
Yeah.
One of the key ingredients, and I believe the key ingredient for a relationship is respect.
Yes.
I'm going to put love secondary. And love may not even be in the picture. Okay?
Yeah.
While two persons are in an intimate relationship, where they have begun to be partners, oftentimes you find love is the furthest thing away from that relationship.
It's actually the primary need.
Absolutely.
And I know that right now some people may be saying, but why isn't love, the number one thing in a relationship?
Right.
But sometimes love isn't. It's actually two people coming together just to serve a primary need.
Absolutely.
Now, the question is, what is your primary need? Why did you get into that relationship? What was the purpose? What is being in that relationship serving you at this time? So, some people might say, oh, well, I got into that relationship because I had financial difficulties.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have another way out. So, because this person, was assisting me financially, so I just figure out that the next best thing was to just get into a relationship.
Yeah.
Some people are looking for father figures or mother figures. Some people are looking to fulfill this felt need that they have deep down inside that they haven't been able to do for a long time. And then there comes this person who actually fits the puzzle.
Absolutely. And we're talking about love, and this is what we're saying, the very topic that we have, intimate partner violence, is what oftentimes leads people into other relationships that is definitely not hinged on love.
You're right.
Okay? While it's fulfilling a particular emotional need, but the emotional need might just be a need for safety. I want to feel safe.
Right. Yeah.
And here's this new partner making me feel safe. It's not that I love you,
Yes.
but you are making me feel safe in comparison to where I was before.
Yes.
Okay? Now I can sit with my legs up and look at my own phone without being hassled.
Yeah.
I'm in that relationship. Do I love the person? Not sure.
Because oftentimes, as you said, the controlling and the phone, you hear instances where young ladies say, when they answer their phone, oh, my mother, so they have to announce prior. Oh, my brother was talking to me, like my uncle, they have to announce prior. 'Cause if they don't answer the phone, hello, after they're talking to, so they have to announce, so to state beforehand. Well, my mother called me, so they have to like make the person feel assured that it's not nobody else they're talking to, but their mother, their co-worker, their boss, also like I guess safety for reasons.
And unfortunately, sometimes after you hear, oh, my mother, two things have been said, and then the phone goes down.
Yes.
Because the truth and in fact, it was not their mother.
No.
But they have already given the cue to this person.
Yep.
If I say, oh, it's my mother,
It's safe.
then just understand I can't stay long with you.
Right. And this has been hinged on fear.
On fear, okay? Emotion, and
Yes.
that's affecting the person's emotion. That's emotional abuse. You're putting this person through emotional abuse. So intimate partner violence, we see how much it affects. And now there is mistrust in the relationship because I have to lie my way through in order to protect myself in the relationship.
Yes, yes,
Okay?
yes.
So if I have to lie to protect myself, then if I have to lie in other things, then
Yes.
so you see, when people do things, we do not judge people. There's always a reason why something is done.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, yes. I mean, like within the confines of a relationship, I mean, each party has a responsibility, right? And, you know, if you don't know what your responsibilities are within the relationship, you need to find out.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times people come into relationships and they don't know what it means to be in a relationship. It could be the first time, or it could be because of past experiences that they're just clueless, or what they probably know is not well fitting for this particular relationship. And that's why it is important to have conversation.
Absolutely.
We need to have conversations with our partners to know what is it that you need. What is it that, what are your expectations?
And can I meet them
And can I meet those expectations?
before I commit?
Because failed expectations, this one is going to cause violence and
Absolutely.
other issues
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
relationships.
Because in just stretching it out, we recognize that intimate partner violence occur across the sphere.
Yeah.
Okay? We have in no matter what the socioeconomic conditions are,
Yeah.
the rich, the not so rich, the middle class, the poor.
Yeah.
It happens across the socioeconomic
Yes.
borders.
Yes.
Okay? And sadly, sometimes you find there are sometimes the extremes in the rich and the poor. Because I feel I can do what I want.
Yep.
Yes.
Because I do not have, I am so frustrated that I use another medium to pass it on. And these are something that we have to be mindful of. So what is causing? Religion. This is another sad part of life.
Yes, religion.
Okay? Religion.
Let's talk
in the
about
religious
that a
circle.
little bit.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yes,
I think-
yes, yes.
Because you see, the dogmas of religion. Some people will take Genesis after God pronounced his punishment on women and on Adam and Eve and the serpent. He actually said to the woman, and from this time forth, your man shall have rule over you. What does that mean? And to be taken in the literal sense, to have rule, it is being taken in the literal sense in some religious circles, so that women almost don't have a say.
Yes.
Okay? And if we look across the sphere of Dominica, and we don't have to go very far, we look at different religious sector that has been set up, and you notice that there are different behavioral patterns with women on the different religious bodies. Okay? And you could almost see how a woman is dressed and could tell in which religion she belongs to. Okay? You see the number of children that she has. Okay? In some sect, the figure you have to, the Bible says, blessed is the man that have his quiver filled.
Right.
But if to give a woman 6, 7, 8, 9 children, one after the other, that's abuse of her body. Okay? Every year she's making a child. Can't you stop and just realize that's abuse of the person's body? That's violence
Yes.
against
yes,
the person.
Yes. Yes.
But some religious folks may turn around and say that's not. Okay?
Yes, and even when we go back into Genesis, where the scripture talks about the man being the head of the home, which is true, but then some men, because of lack of understanding of scripture, they tend to take that aspect of what the Bible is saying, and it's almost like, because the man is the head of the home, I'm going to dominate everything that takes place, that my wife has no say whatsoever. But then if you also look in other parts of the scripture, it says that the man and the woman become one. They become one flesh. They're in covenant with each other, and the wife is the husband's helpmate. That means they work together. They are a team, right? So again, is the misconception of what the scripture says have certain people behaving certain ways that would cause issues in the family structure.
Yep.
And interesting as Mrs. Packard is sharing this here, because as we went through some literature on IPV yesterday, understanding, you often hear some people say, well, my tongue don't have bone, I can say what I want.
Yes.
This, in my humble view, is something people have to be mindful about. Be careful where and to whom you say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying this and you're making a statement of fact, but statement of fact, who says fact based on who?
Yeah.
Okay? That's your fact, it's not my fact. Okay? So if you're making a statement and it's your opinion, I mean, and for you to say your tongue don't have bone, you can say what you want. You're turning off some people, obviously.
Yeah.
But the subtlety, remember we mentioned earlier on the whole issue of domestic violence.
Yes.
The subtlety that we found, and this is where our society has to be on guard, and that's why I'm saying for us, persons who know better needs to begin to educate our society and educate our folks in the correct way, okay? Because here it is. Further in the definition, okay, and in the explanation it says, although women can be violent in a relation, they said the overwhelming global burden of IPV is borne by women. And although women can be violent in relationships with men, oftentimes, hear this, is in self-defense. And violence sometimes occurs in same-sex partnership. The most common perpetrators of violence against women and male intimate partners or ex-partners. One, by contrast, men, they say, are more likely to suffer or experience violence act by strangers or acquaintances. See how subtly same-sex relationship is brought into this. We have our children out there. What is it that we want them to believe in? Okay? Domestic violence versus intimate partner relationship and intimate partner violence. When we hear intimate partner violence, because you see, when you say intimate partner, by virtue of the definition of intimate, as we broaden the scope, we are saying you can be intimate with anybody.
Yes. Anybody.
With your child, with a male, with a female. Male to male, female with female. Okay? So you see the subtlety of how agendas are hidden among the literatures that are presented to us. So we are here discussing intimate partner violence. But who are we really talking about? What are we really propagating? And these are the things that we have to be mindful of when we go out there to educate the general public. What are we educating them on?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to know what you're talking about
Yep.
Very important.
when you're educating people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break now and back shortly.
Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better. Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better. Let's talk gender.
Come back, we talk, it don't all the things that your man if you for open up. Your friend them said them not time, but we at let's talk gender, we got time. So make we be real, just free up your mind, share your experience, big up the youth one time. And don't fear to express yourself, don't fear to express yourself, no.
Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better. Let's talk gender. Maybe then we'll get to know ourselves a little better.
And we're back this morning with our topic, intimate partner violence. I'm your host, Keisha Polido, and I'm here in studios, as mentioned earlier, with Assistant Chief Welfare Officer, Mr. Oliver Wallace, and Counselor of the Social Welfare Division, Mrs. Glenora Packett. And we're talking about intimate partner violence. We gave you a mouthful and some before the break. And we're moving forward with the difference between domestic violence and intimate partner violence, which oftentimes people get confused about.
Yes. I just want to say, please feel free to call in.
Yes.
It would be good to interact with the public. Okay, when it comes to domestic violence and intimate partner violence, if you were to just do some research on it, a lot of times it is used interchangeably.
Yep.
But there is actually a difference. Now let's just go back. The terms domestic violence and intimate partner violence are today used as synonymous terms to describe some operative word, some form of abusive behavior by one individual upon another person in a relationship. While these two terms are used interchangeably to describe the same criminal offense, they have different origins. So back in the day, when it came to, a lot of challenges in the home or within the confines of the home between husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, we would coin it as domestic violence. But now, stepping into the 2000s and,
As we say, the 21st
the
century.
21st century, things are changing. Now, hear this. The traditional view of violence in a relationship focus on a crime of abuse involving two individuals in an opposite sex marriage. Typically, the abuser was the husband and the wife was the victim. This is the origin of the term domestic violence, where the abusive behavior was viewed as a form of violence that existed within a domestic relationship. So this is what we call domestic violence, right? Between a man and a woman, opposite sex. Oh, okay.
Well, we have a caller online. Good morning, caller.
Taking my call.
Hi, morning.
I have a problem with that pastor, what he's saying out there,
Okay.
I have a wife, and she could make children. What part of that is abuse, pastor?
One moment.
Multiply.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I was not hearing you.
Could you repeat your question, caller?
No, hang on. I'm just saying, like,
Yes,
God in the Bible, God said to multiply.
yes.
If my wife wants to make 50 children, what part of that is abuse? I want you to explain that to me. Thanks for taking my call. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, caller.
God bless you.
We'll address your question.
Well, indeed, if you studied it right, though. If there's a discussion between a husband and a wife, and they both agree that they're going to have 15 children, that's up to the two partners.
Yeah.
What I think that can be done is to how you distribute them, okay? Because in truth and in fact, even if both of you agree and you have 15 children in a row, this is abuse of the person's body. Then I'm not a medical practitioner, but the basic thing that I know that would happen to the woman, it would definitely affect some part of her body in terms of a calcium level in her body and everything else. Though we have modern supplements, but this you can find certain side effects and so on. So if she decides, along with you, to have 15 children, as you rightly said, yeah, that's fine, okay? But if for a man to just be giving a woman children, without her consent and due consideration to her own personal health, I'm still maintaining this is abuse to the woman.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Caller, I hope.
Thank you, caller,
that-
for your question.
Yeah, I hope that brings clarity to your question.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue for discussion on domestic violence, the difference between domestic violence and intimate partner violence.
Okay, so we continue. So we just laid the foundation for domestic violence. The history of it, that it was between a man and a woman. And that's why research coins it as domestic violence in heterosexual relationship.
Right.
Now, we are moving into intimate partner violence and where it came from. Societal views expanded to better understand the types of violence that exist within relationships, as well as the reality that the roles of abuser and victim are not gender specific.
You see this?
As a result, the term intimate partner violence was introduced to encompass a broader understanding of violence in relationships.
And pause a while. You notice particularly they just keep saying relationship.
Yes.
It's now not defined, not heterosexual. It's a broad base, just relationship. Go ahead.
The While it is challenging to specifically identify when it came to existence, it appears to have gained momentum around 2000, the year 2000. Okay? The use of the term intimate partner violence moved us from the old view that abusive violence only occurs in marital relationships where the husband was the abuser and the wife was the victim. The concept of intimate partner violence acknowledges that abuse can exist in any type of personal, intimate relationship, regardless of sexual orientation, marital status, or gender. Like domestic violence, this new term does not assign the roles of the abuser and victim to one gender or the other.
So again, you see, when we sought to provide some initial background information on the difference between IPV and the domestic violence, we notice here, and it's like seeking to be all accommodative. So the question is for us as educators, what is it that we really want to tell people? Okay?
Yeah.
Because once you begin to talk IPV, you are basically saying it's okay to be in any relationship that you want to. And this is based on your own, this now has to take in your own personal idiosyncrasies, your own personal preferences. Okay? I will say off the bat, I am not for homosexual relationships. So I am not propagating this things like same-sex relationships. That's not what I'm here to promote. However, if two consenting adults decide to be in a same-sex relationship, they too need to understand it's a violation of a person's rights. If you're abusing them psychologically, physically, and the other emotionally and the otherwise, okay? No matter what relationship you are in, once you are violating a person's personal rights, this is abuse. And that needs to be underscored.
Yes.
Okay? And people need to understand that. So while I'm not here promoting same-sex relationship, which this is where this IPV came in to accommodate, however, I'm saying, and very specific again, two persons, adults, you consent, it's your choice. You have decided you want to be that way. That's you. However, you need to understand people have rights. And just as you had the right to choose that person, the person has rights as well. And we need to understand these underlying factors.
Yes. And that's very important. In relationships, it's important to understand that while we are joined together, but I have rights as well. And one of the rights I have is to not to be abused, to not to be taken advantage of, and to not to be dominated. Right? Like I said earlier on, communication and having discussions between you and your partner is very important. So at least you all know what each other's expectations are. Right? Even in, you might hear some people say, but this never happened before. But then all of a sudden, it started happening, or this person started behaving, in that particular way. So ask yourself a question. When did it happen, started happening, and why did it start happening? Because there is always a cause.
Right.
There's always a cause. Things don't just happen just like that. There's always a cause. And that's why discussion is important.
Yeah. So we're going to just carry on. We have said our program is already minutes to 12. So what are the causes and risk factors of intimate partner violence?
Yes, we look at the causes, and this is Parker just started to go into this. The causes, they're saying to us, basically, the most widely used model for understanding violence is the ecological model, which they said, which proposes that violence is as a result of factors operating at 4 levels: individual, relationship, community, and societal. Okay, so we notice what did I come into this relationship with?
Yeah.
When I entered the relationship, what was my baggage? What was my package? And note I'm using two of them, not interchangeably, but as individuals. I came with a package, but I also had some baggage. So
Yeah.
when I came into that relationship, what did I have? And my partner, hence the reason why I'm again reiterating the point that Mrs. Packett made in terms of the need to speak. Not just push yourself into a relationship. This is who I am. This is what I have. Are you prepared for that package? Okay? Because who I am and what I have, I am now looking for someone to accept that package. And that's why we're saying, going back to the issue, it's not based on love. It's based on meeting my need.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
package I have that I need to be fulfilled and I need somebody to support it for me. Can you support it? Okay? And the whole issue of that, so we go in here and the relationship itself, okay? And to determine, okay, the violence also comes into the relationship. And we can do a number of factors in the relationship in terms of age differences, sex within the relationship, and then I say sex in terms of male, female, okay? Who am I in this relationship? What role do I play in this relationship? Okay? And this relationship that I came into, my age group versus your age group. Okay? My family background versus your family background. What are the factors that plays into this relationship to make it work? Okay? So as we think of some of the things that can cause this here, the person first of all enter into the relationship has to look internally, has to do some serious introspection. And knowing who you are, because unfortunately sometimes this is the greatest problem. This person doesn't know who they are. And because you do not know who you are, what you're carrying with you, when it's revealed to you, it's in me. I'm not that. That's not me. But actually, it is generally suggested that people on the outside has a better view of us because they see what we're displaying. A call.
Okay, we have another call on the line. Hello, caller.
Again, but hello, can you hear me?
Hello, can you speak up?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry that I have to call again, but I'm on the road and I'm enjoying this program.
Okay.
Pastor, I agree with you. I'm not in a homosexual thing. You keep in your corner and I will keep in my corner. That's not for me. And what I'm saying again, right? Nowadays a woman beating man, you know. So we have to put it on the both sides, right? Because man doesn't beat woman again, a woman beating man. Thanks for taking my time during this program.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate
you,
your call.
sir.
Great, appreciate that.
Yes, we're going to come to that aspect. We are not trying to say that it's only men are the
Yeah.
abusers, but actually that you do find some women who are the abusers in the relationship.
Yeah.
But generally, men are the
But
Most-
we are saying generally
Yeah, men are the
that
perpetrators.
men are the ones who are the abusers and the women are the victims.
Yeah.
But there are relationships here in Dominica where the woman is actually the abuser, right? And you may find that some men are afraid to report it or to even seek help because they fear what the wider population will think about them.
Yeah.
Because again, we go back into roles. I'm the man,
Yeah.
I'm the head of the home, but my wife or my girlfriend is beating me.
Yeah, their ego is scratched now.
Yes, what does that say about me?
Right.
I'm weak. You know. So, and then I don't want to leave that out. Sometimes they may go to seek help, and then they are laughed at. Oh, how can you make your woman do that?
Yeah.
Nonsense you doing. You can do better than that. You're not a man, my brother. That kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? So you these are the responses that they would get, and it's actually not helping. But we need to understand as a society that the roles can be reversed.
Yep.
Yes.
And the quicker that we understand that, the easier it is to help those who are suffering. Very, very important. Because there are lots of people who are suffering here because of violence, because of issues that they're experiencing in their relationships. And then I just want to come back on that aspect. Earlier on, we spoke about when it comes to violence, that people just think it's only hitting, it's only slapping, it's only, breaking a limb. But the whole dominating aspect, the controlling aspect, not being able to be free, to be who you are as an individual, not being, not taken advantage of in a sexual manner, like being raped in a relationship. It does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen. Women and men do get raped in their relationship. It also has to do with one partner bringing home the money, at the end of the month, and the other one stays at home. And then they try to control that other partner because of the financial aspect of it and the religious aspect. So it is happening. And people need to know that even if you're not being hit, but there could be that you are being abused or taken advantage of in another way.
And this is why, as we were expounding on the areas of what are the causes, individual factors, age range, and I have often heard people say age is just a number.
Yeah, it's a common saying.
And a very common saying. I personally don't share that view. Others may share that view, but I don't share that view, because I think the dynamics of age creates some stuff that what I believe in because of my age range and what you believe in can be vastly different because of the age in which you were brought up in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a 25-year-old difference between two persons is going to be some matter for concern.
Yeah.
Okay? And we have the level of education. These are things that people take for granted. But when my need, and I can take it even personal, for me, but I love to be stirred intellectually. I like to have a good conversation. But when you have someone who, by the time they open their mouth, you're trying to wonder, what are you really saying? Does that really make sense? Right away, that is going to create an avenue for breakdown in communication in this relationship. When communication breakdown because you don't feel like the person matches up to you to speak with you. So sadly, wives often say, I ask my husband, tell my husband, let's talk. And he's like, about what? Because he cannot match up to her level. Or this vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay? The husband has the similar issues. So these are something that we have to be mindful of. Okay? The relational factors we're talking about. Okay?
And even with the issue of disparity in educational attainment, that is a big issue in relationships where one person educational level is is higher than the other one. That is a problem in relationships.
And one of the factors is what we have seen as well, and we have seen it in our counseling area, is where oftentimes, sadly, a male cannot accept the fact that his wife is making more money than him.
Yep.
So she gets a promotion, and now her salary is higher than his, and he has a problem with this. Okay?
Yeah.
And this, for us, we need to understand. It is pretty sad that people find themselves in this position.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And hence the reason why, as we're saying, violence against a person is always going to be wrong. Okay? But our society, basically, the community societal factors like poverty, low social economic status of women, okay, weak legal sanctions, okay, in terms of how does the law protect persons who are violated, okay. Thankfully, in Dominica, we have a few pieces of legislation that speaks to this. However, I think to date, our Domestic Violence Act still says that hearsay is inadmissible in the law. So if a person sees somebody being abused, battered, and beaten, and decide to take, and they report it to them and take the matter before the court, this person still has to come and say, yes, he did that to me. Otherwise, it holds no weight. And this, for us, in my mind, these are the times when you talk about the pieces of legislation like the Domestic Violence Act need to be amended to give leeway, like the Sexual Offense Act was amended, to give leeway for this. Okay? So these things are very important for us. Okay?
Mr. Wallace, let's briefly talk about childhood experiences.
Okay.
A lot of times people enter into relationships and their childhood experiences have a lot to do with how they function in that relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You grew up in a home where your father, your mother, they constantly had issues. There was always a battle between them. They would fight. There was the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse, even the financial abuse and all of that, even the physical abuse. And then there was no one there to say to you that this is wrong. This is not the way that a man or woman should treat each other. Right? And then you grow up thinking that it was okay.
This is okay, right?
To disrespect your partner in that regard. The next thing, you enter into a relationship, and yes, things may start off, being okay and everybody's happy, but then a situation arises, and then you realize that, hey, I have this thing in me that wasn't dealt with as a child.
Right. It's like the only way I know how to solve problems.
Yeah.
Is what I learned. Okay. And the truth is, it is often said that children leave what they learn.
Yes.
And we see it all the time. Okay. So in relationships, and this is why again I always say I'm not here to judge anybody. If you're in a relationship where you are acting in a manner that is not becoming, I'm not here to judge you in this session here. I'm here to basically say to you, like Mrs. Packard is suggesting to us, where did that behavior come from?
There's always a cause.
Yeah. Where did I learn that behavior? Because understand, all behaviors are learned.
Yes. Yes.
But the beauty about it is what they tell us, because all behaviors are learned, you can unlearn that behavior and replace it with something else.
By having the right information.
Exactly. And this is what we are here to do for you today. To provide you with the right information, saying to you, okay, what you saw daddy or mommy did, what you learned as a child. The question is where you are right now. And I've also, one of the things that I hold very, very dearly to is to say to an adult person, look at you. And I use some of the basic things sometimes in the counseling session. I said, would you allow me, for example, to just tell you to get up and go outside right now? No, you wouldn't do that because now you're an adult.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm saying, try to take that aspect a little further. Say, this is the adult me. This is the big me. I'm no longer the little me. So when you have become that big you, that adult you, some behaviors of the childhood days must change.
Yes.
Okay? So when your partner tries to speak to you like your father spoke to you, it's okay to say to your partner, guess what? I'm sorry. Well, no, I am your partner. I'm an adult. We're in an adult relationship. And I do not appreciate you speaking to me that way. Okay? Because that's why the underlying factors of respect. So a childhood days, and this is why for us, for the parents listening to us here, be mindful how you raise your children. Because how you raise them, I mean, the brain keeps so much information.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And simple as it is, what is trauma for one person, not trauma for another person?
Yes.
So what can traumatize a child in a relationship, in a mother, father, sibling relationship, they can grow up with it and enter into an intimate relationship with that.
Yes.
And affecting their relationship. And some folks, so many persons that says, I don't know when it started. But the beauty about psychotherapy, when you use psychotherapy and you begin to say, let us go back.
Yes.
Let's do some recollection as to what happened when you were growing up. Then we can possibly find
another
it.
caller.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Yes,
morning.
first time I'm calling to your program. Yes, I've been listening to you, Mr. Wallace,
Yes, please.
and I agree with most of the things you said. But one aspect I would like to point out, like you said, the age difference in a relationship. You could be right there, as well as sometimes every rule has an exception. Because you know me personally, Mr. Wallace.
I do.
Right. And at my age, I can relate in a deep, very deep conversation, meaningful conversation. And at my age, I can relate to the young people, and I take what I learned from my middle age, and I put it in aspects. I try to keep in touch with everything the young people know, whether good, whether bad, because it's for my upbringing, you know. And so I like to talk about world events, anything with aspects of life. But I listen to you all, and to tell you the truth, a lot of what you all are saying, I wish I'd get that in my late teens and in my 20s. In a way now, I saying to myself, maybe it's for me, it is a little too late. It's not too late, you know, but had I get that training from before, because I didn't really have a easy childhood, though I had both parents in the home, because I was only happy when my father was at the home. And I got bullied in school and a lot of other things which happened to me, which I programmed myself to have thought of myself as nothing. And it's only when I reach to a real mature age, like you say, like 40, I started like picking up myself, feeling like after getting all these bad events happening to me and learning the hard way and learning, because from small I always thought that I was always told that I was stoned, I'm too slow, I cannot do anything. And there were certain things which happened to me which I could not tell my mother. And when I went to really try to help to ask to speak to her, she did not want to hear because of who I was accusing.
Okay.
She's dead and gone now, so I have to leave that alone.
Right.
But then because of who I was accusing, so I pretended like it never happened. And then I started being angry. I started being lashing out. And then the same way you were roughed up in the home, well, not by my dad for sure. I don't think she didn't take care of me, you know, but then she only brought out what she had herself. And then in turn now I end up passing that to my own offspring without even realizing. And then when you're lashing out in your teenagers and in your 20s and in your 40s, people wondering what's wrong with you. But you did not get the help you needed at the time.
Right.
So you don't know how to handle your situation with what I know now. And I always listen to your program, so I get to learn a little more. So,
Thank you very much for calling today.
Yes, and from my experiences,
Yes.
I think if I had known that in my teens and in my 20s, I would have been a foster recluse and I would have known how to handle.
Well, we appreciate you calling today. Thank you,
Yes.
because our time is running out.
Yes.
But we appreciate you again. Thanks so much for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
caller.
it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So you see why
Living testimony.
yes, that's exactly what we were just saying.
Yes.
That, children experience things, during their childhood. And because they may not have, the social support or family support to help them to get through it, when they get into adulthood and into relationships,
Right.
that is when certain things come out that they did not even really know that they had in there, right? So that's why it's important, to have the right information. And that's why some parents may think, oh, we don't have this at home, or we don't need to listen, we don't need to know these things. But you do need to know these things.
Yeah, and interested, just to piggyback on our caller though, you notice she keep saying, as it were, it's like she knows where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay? She saw. And oftentimes in relationship, because of the violence that starts in the relationship, one partner is afraid to tell the other, why am I behaving that way?
Yes.
But oftentimes we know the origin of our behavior. And as a counselor, I have found out, most of the times when you counsel somebody, they actually know what is happening to them. But for fear of trust, I can't talk to anybody. So when you create that platform where they begin to feel comfortable, and they can say, okay, see now, I'm seeing somebody I can talk with. So the average person, sometimes the behavior that they have, generally people can tell you where the behavior started. But it's just that they have not found the correct avenue. And this is why every time we're in this program as well, we offer the opportunity. We say to you, guess what? The Social Welfare Division's office, we've got 2 counselors there.
Yeah.
Come across. We are willing to assist. And that's why the programs like this is to educate people and help them to move along.
One thing that before we go that I would like us to touch on is, you would hear some people say that, why does she stay in this relationship? Why does he stay in this relationship? Because I want to keep it balanced.
Yes, very much.
She can do better, he can do better, I don't understand. Why? Oh, you can leave. But do you know sometimes it's not easy to leave?
Yep.
No. And you know where it goes back to? Exactly where we started from the start.
Yes.
It's not about love.
It's not about love.
It's about my security, my safety, my felt need, that deep need that is being met by that person. So when this person battered and bruised me during the daytime, but who's the person holding me in their arms and saying, I'm sorry at the nighttime? This very same person.
Yes.
But did my family, who hurt me so badly, ever turn around and tell to me that they were sorry? Okay?
Yeah.
So you weigh the balance.
Yes.
It is sad, and this is where you find, sometimes we are aware of so much deadly, domestic violence going on in the neighborhood. However, he or she just wouldn't leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay?
And
Yes.
people often say, if it was me, you don't know if you're not in a situation. So if it was me,
Until you get into that situation, that's when you know what you would do.
Yeah.
It's easy to say that cannot happen to me. Me, that can never happen to me.
Yeah.
But you may be saying that now. When you get into that situation, that's the only time you're going to actually know what you would do.
Yeah.
But you see, here, as you said, that cannot happen to me. That is the person's that.
Yes.
What is your that?
What is your that? Exactly. So it doesn't necessarily have to be,
What the person's going
violence or
through.
what that person is actually going through.
You are going through your own that.
That's it.
Okay?
That's
and
it.
hence the reason why someone has coined the term, what is your why? Okay?
Yeah.
You are doing something. You are in a relationship. But what is your why for being there? Why are you doing this? Okay? Why are you staying there?
Yes.
Because except you can do this deep-seated, rooted evaluation of yourself to say, okay, I am in this relationship because I am doing this because this is my why for being there.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because we look at the unfortunately we look at the drunken man on the street in his drunken stupor, and we may say, me, I can never be like that man. But guess what? Somebody else may be looking at you and say, I can never be like her.
That's it.
Because there's a behavior of yours that people are not too pleased about.
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
so this is the person's that, and that is the person. So again, the bottom line for this here for us, we're saying is, do not judge people.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a reason. There's a why.
And the other thing, Mr. Wallace, I just want to say is, if you're going to encourage somebody to leave, be ready to be a form of support for that person.
Yeah.
You can't tell them, oh, why are you staying in this relationship? You need to leave.
What's the
but
option?
But then, what are you going to provide me with? What are
Absolutely.
the options?
Yeah.
Are you willing to give me a place to stay? Are you going to be able to give me money? Will you be able to help feed my children?
Absolutely.
Will you be able to help send them to school? What is it are you going to provide? What is there that when I leave that I am going to be comfortable, or are you going to empower me? Help me build my self-esteem again.
Right.
Help me to find myself again,
Right,
to
right.
know who I am as a person. All the things that I am lacking that was taken away from me in that relationship, are you going to be the one to assist me to rebuild my life again?
Because the greatest gift this person, when you suggest to the person to leave this relationship, the greatest gift you can give to this person is to empower them.
That's right.
Because it's not to become dependent on you. But unfortunately, though, and we cannot not touch this, because unfortunately in our society, we have people who try to pull people out of circumstances and then take advantage of them.
That's it. That's it. That's
And
it.
this here for us, again, when a person offers you help, whoever you are listening to us, a person's offer you help, test them, try them. But again, you see something sadly too, though, our that deep-seated, rooted need of ours sometimes just overpowers us.
Yes.
I am seeing, right? I'm seeing that this person is going down a road. I'm seeing the person is going down a road that I don't want to go to.
Yes.
However, I'm seeing the person is going down a road that I don't want to. However, that deep-seated, rooted need of mine is overpowering me,
Yes.
that I still draw towards them.
Yeah.
Because to meet my immediate need now, that deep felt need is more important than the violence that I see.
That's it. That's it. And that's very important, because a lot of times, although they know that, hey, I deserve better, I deserve more, I shouldn't be in this, I shouldn't have to be dealing with this. But then when they think about their felt need, they tell themselves, but I can't even do anything different.
A person has 5 children under 10 years of age, in an abusive relationship, unemployed. These are 5 mouths to be fed.
Yep.
We hear in our Dominican local parlance, your mouth open, you're going to eat. I was going to try sitting patois, but I leave that alone. Right? The mouth open, they're going to eat. But it's not as easy as that. Okay? Because you still want them, when the nurse comes to do the medical checkup, we still want them to be healthy. So it's not just a cup of Glow Show every day. Cup of Glow Show is good sometimes, but not for every day. Okay? The nutritional value. So when this person who comes in and the person is seeing in sight that there's some violence down the road, I'm going to be faced with some other challenges. However, this need is being met, and we go for it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But sadly, we have come to the end of our program. We're having some fruitful discussion here this morning on intimate partner violence. But this is an end. Thanks to you listeners for tuning in, for calling in, and for viewing via Facebook. I am Keisha Polido, and I was here today with Mr. Oliver Wallace and Miss Glenora Packett, and I will see you shortly.
Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day.
Indeed.
One time. And don't fear to express yourself. Don't fear to express yourself. No.
Let's talk gender.